So every so often you meet people where you just kind of look at them and you say, who are you? Where did you come from? And I think in this episode, this quick take episode of the Real Estate Law Podcast, we have that type of person. We're going to talk about networking in this, and somebody that is just so good at putting themselves out there and always meeting people with a fantastic attitude, trying to add value to their lives while also learning from them. The gentleman on this quick take episode is Kyle Curtin, who's been a friend of ours for a number of years. We met Kyle, boy, this is before the pandemic, I believe. I was posting on Bigger Pockets myself, and Kyle reached out to me and said, "Hey, I have this podcast. Would you want to be a guest?" This was kind of before we had the Real Estate Law Podcast really actively going. I think maybe I'd been on one other podcast before, but I agreed to record with him. The episode is out there in the internet somewhere. It's probably 90 minutes of me blabbering, as I tend to do in all these podcast recordings. But Kyle lives here in Massachusetts, where we live, and we've remained in touch over the years. We've bumped into him a number of times at networking events. We've had one-on-one meetings with Kyle. We interact online all the time. We're definitely considered friends at this point. He's legit half my age. Okay, this is some early 20-something kid at the time going to real estate network events, meeting people, and being like, I want to learn what you do. And a lot of us as adults, as we get older, and we have all of these preconceived notions and all of these reasons not to do something filling our heads, having somebody like Kyle coming in there saying, I don't care about any of that stuff. This is how I want to get my post-high school education. I'm in the trades. I know a little bit about real estate, and I want to meet more people. Well, fast forward to today, and he is doing deals. He owns property. He's raising money, raising capital. We get his emails all the time. I've said by the time this guy's 30, he's going to be super, super successful, and I'll probably be working for him someday. But I want you to hear this episode and this quick take, which Kyle talks a little bit about, how he got started going to these networking events and putting himself out there. It is not something that people are necessarily thrilled to do, to walk into a room of people that they don't know by themselves and start trying to shake hands and make friends and learn from them and ask them how that person could help, and vice versa. But he did it, and he does it really well. And I think that, the consistent bang of the drum that Kyle is out there looking to add value in the real estate world is getting him deals. It's getting him partnerships. And that's exactly what a lot of us are looking to do when we go to real estate meetups. So give it a listen. Kyle's very easy to find online. We'll have links here in the show notes. But I strongly encourage you to reach out to Kyle Curtin if you want to say hi. If you happen to be here in the Northeast, it's very likely that if you show up at a real estate meetup anywhere in the greater Boston area, he actually might be there, because I think that's kind of what he still does. But here we go.
I could think about the past couple of years of you just constantly out there going to networking events, and you're meeting people of all different walks of life. And I want to talk about that a little bit as to how it's benefited you and how you even started doing that in the first place. But I'd imagine that going to those kind of events allows you to build up a team of people that you can call. You referenced Jason earlier. He probably knew a plumber for you to contact. But what got you to start going to these networking events like many, many years ago?
Of course. Yeah. So to your point, Jason, your network is absolutely freaking everything, guys. You do not want to play this game alone. And there are people that play this game alone and, they're extremely successful. And if that's your cup of tea, perfect. Get out there and go crush it. But I can tell you it's definitely a lot more fun, and you have a lot more opportunities by, just playing it with other people, and to kind of jump into the first story of how I, started to get going to networking events was, as time was going on and, I was learning more about the space, I picked up kind of quick that, this is a very people-centric business, whether you're in the agency side, whether you're in the contracting side, whether you're an investor, whatever your role is, you're going to need to be able to build up a team, directly or indirectly, with a lot of other people to start to work towards the vision that you're trying to get to. So essentially, it's kind of funny, telling the story of going to my first event, because I feel like there's there's a couple of things that I learned from that I'm always super, super happy to share with people just starting off, right? So it's a very interesting thing, going out there and like meeting people and everything. And like, because like, what are we always taught as kids? Oh, don't talk to strangers. So it's like, it's really interesting, like basically like going completely against a lot of the beliefs that were kind of ingrained in you growing up. And literally like just volunteering yourself to go out there, being vulnerable and going out to make friends in places that like you've never been in before. So and I'm kind of curious if you guys know the woman who's the first woman that I met in this space that kind of got me started, because this was in like 2018, I believe. This was a little bit ago. Her name was Lisa Manfredi. And essentially, so the first meetup that I wanted to go to, it was on meetup.com. And this woman, Lisa, shout out to you, Lisa. I absolutely love you. It's been a little bit, but definitely have to connect soon again. But basically, this woman, Lisa, was putting on a small event with, just like less than 10 people at Anna's coffee shop in Charlestown, Massachusetts. And basically what it was, people would get together and play Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow board game, right? And like everybody gets a different role and like really awesome stuff, right? And I wanted to go over and over and over again, right? But my anxiety was absolutely eating me alive. And I'd find every excuse in the book to not drive over there. I'd be like, oh no, it's my cat's half birthday today, and
Yeah.
I don't have a cat. So it made it a little bit harder to rationalize that one. But eventually I ended up, kind of forcing myself to go, right? And it's something that I absolutely wanted to go with like every part of me, right? But it was my anxiety of like, and the self-limiting beliefs as well of, oh, this, 18-year-old kid that's like starting to like houses, like what kind of value is he, like nobody's going to want to talk to him and that type of thing. And I feel like that's a really common belief with people jumping into the space for the first time. Is like, oh, all these investors, like everybody's, so like, selfish and like self-centered and like, just want to, do their own thing and nobody wants to work together and like everybody fights all the time. And I'll tell you, like, I couldn't be more wrong in my entire life. And I'm very, very happy to say that, because I ended up forcing myself to go one night. And, I met this woman, Lisa, and, some other people around, one of which that I just connected with at a meetup a couple months ago. That was really crazy because she was kind of like the second person from like 5 years ago, that I kind of got to know. But basically, so I ended up forcing myself to go, and I didn't really know what to expect. Like there's a picture on one of my Instagram stories from a wicked long time ago. I had like business cards, and like I thought this was gonna be like like go and try and like get clients for agency and that type of thing. And I'm glad I was wrong as well, because essentially, like, we played the game, we had a ton of fun, and meeting this woman, Lisa, was my catalyst for changing my life for everything. Literally like a complete, like cut and dry, like mindset, like completely like rewiring my brain, because she, essentially like, I kept going to these events. And, me, her, and a couple other people started meeting on like Saturdays, and like she would bring a whiteboard and like, we would talk about like the fractional reserve and like draw all this stuff out and like how all the systems worked and like, time versus money. And she was just like someone that I've never ever met before, and she was financially free. She was very into like the infinite banking concepts and like, starting businesses and, investing in real estate in different capacities. And she was just a very like free spirit, you know what I mean? Like someone I'd like never ever met before. And like we kept meeting, and she showed me like just the power of, building assets. And like right now she's, I haven't talked to her in a little bit, but the last time I did, she was traveling with, like her boyfriend and their dog in an RV, like across the US, and making like this huge trip. And like, all of a sudden seeing that something like that is possible, like for anybody, you know what I mean? Like you don't need to be like a billionaire and like have like all this really crazy stuff going on. Like any of us can do this type of thing, and like But essentially, like, from pushing myself to start going to these events, like, ultimately changed my life, because all it takes is one conversation with one person to completely change your entire world. And like, since then, I kept networking. And the biggest factor in like growing my relationships has always been sending direct messages to people on Instagram, Facebook, Bigger Pockets, which that might have been how we met, guys. I'm not 100% positive. I'd have to like really dig back, but essentially it very well could have been. Absolutely. And basically, like, in this message, right, like, you essentially just want to be as genuine as possible, because what you're looking to do is just make friends, and so look up the people that are in the areas that you want to invest in, whether it's Boston, whether it's New Hampshire, like Nevada, like whatever you want to do, like, it's with the power of social media, it's very, very easy, kind of in this day and age, to be able to find the people in the areas, in the particular niches that you want to meet, and essentially, like, just shoot them a message and say, like, oh, like, my name's Jason, my name's Rory, like, this is the type of thing that, I do. Like, I'm located in, Newburyport, I'm located in Boston. Like, I would love to hop on a call and hear your story. And the beautiful thing, to your guys' point earlier, is the amount of people in this space that want to genuinely help each other is like way more than we can count, right? So like, the people that are open to jumping on a call with you and literally just seeing how they can help you is insane. And like, the more that you do that, like, you're going to build up relationships in a lot of different capacities extremely fast. And then the big part of networking is, I mean, obviously, like, the relationship building and like, things take time and stuff, but you never know bigger picture who you're going to be doing a deal with, who, you're going to need, like, you're going to see if they have like a plumber in that area because your property is like doing really crazy stuff. And like, the power of networking is like, I mean, it's a lot of fun, and like, most of my friends at this point are like 10 and 20 years older than me, if not more than that, in this space. And like, I couldn't be more happy, guys,
because there's no 22-year-olds that are going to these things. Like, you're such an anomaly.
And there is another Real Estate Law Podcast quick take. For the full episode, please go to YouTube or iTunes or Spotify or wherever you listen to or heard that quick take. We're also on realestatelawpodcast.com, where you can get all of our episodes and information about the show. On behalf of attorney broker Rory Gill, this is Jason Muth. Thank you for listening.